everybody, and welcome to Shop Talk. I'm JayLeonardJ.
I'm Jonathan Lindsay.
And we are here at Tapestry Music Store. So we're actually here in a music store, and this is a new little thing here. So for the last month, we've been running a podcast called Big Shiny Tones on the Tapestry Music website. We figure, since we're here, we'll do a little segment for my page as well. So every month, first Wednesday of the month, we'll be dropping one of these episodes where we're just going to talk shop. Kind of those little debates that you have at the guitar store. And none of it's really serious. We're all just talking garbage here, but we're going to have ourselves some fun. And today, we have a really, really cool topic that I wanted to talk about.
Oh, yeah. We're going to finally put this to rest.
We're going to put this to rest because this is something that's... So when I think of like iconic guitar brands, right? You have Fender. If you think about Fender, there's like what, 4 guitars, right?
Yeah,
you got
Strat, Tele, Jazzmaster, Jaguar.
Right? You think Ibanez?
I mean, the basses, I guess.
Yeah, there's a bass. So yeah, you have a little bit going on there, and then Ibanez has the Gem or whatever. Every guitar, every company,
all the Ibanez ones have like a whole whack of numbers and letters in the name, so I can never remember what any of them are.
Off the tongue.
An RG524PXD-SW. I mean, that was a classic.
Oh, one of the greatest guitars of its generation. But when you really, when I think, at least for me, when I think of a guitar brand that's had more iconic guitars than any other brand, the first name that comes to mind is
Gibson
guitars. I think from pretty much from every era, and it's not just guitars, it's their electric guitars, it's acoustic guitars.
As well.
They've had such a bevy of legendary guitars for jazz musicians and rock musicians, country musicians, bluegrass,
metal for sure.
And they all have unique looks and unique things. It's not like, a Martin where you have like a D18 and then like a 00018, which just looks like a smaller D18, and then 0018 just small.
Definitely more vibe to the look of the Gibson Acoustics.
Exactly.
Plus, it's one of the heritage American brands too. Like they've been around since 18 something, like late 1800s when the first. And it actually started as the Gibson Mandolin Company.
That's right.
So they were doing all those mandolins, and which is something they still do to this day. But they're doing the mandolins and like those guitars that kind of looked like mandolins, some of the early ones, and like the harp guitars. They were built on big mandolin bodies because mandolin was huge around the turn of the century. They had mandolin orchestras and all that sort of stuff. It wasn't until like kind of 20s and 1930s really when we started seeing like flat top acoustic guitars as we know them today.
Oh yeah. Well, there's some mandolin over there.
Look like the Lloyd Loar era, those mandolins go for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
And that's what we're talking about. Like the pretty much ranging from everything. There's Loar eras, Norlin era. There's all these different eras. So what we're gonna do today is they have a lot of guitars. We're gonna definitively decide what is the greatest guitar Gibson has ever made.
Greatest Gibson of all time.
The greatest Gibson.
Definitively.
The one Gibson. If we could pick one Gibson to represent the entire history in terms of guitars, we're not going to dig into mandolins because I don't know anything about mandolins. But we're going to talk about the guitars. We're going to do it.
No banjos either.
We didn't. Yeah, no banjos. We didn't talk about this. So we're just going to be shooting names. We're going to be shooting things, and we're going to narrow this down. I'm going to start.
What are we starting with?
Because this is one that if we think of like the earliest great Gibson guitar I can think of, the venerable, is that the real word, venerable? Venerable?
It's definitely not venerable.
The venerable Gibson L5.
Okay,
now,
L5.
See that, because there was a point here where that was what anyone would ever want. This is one of the,
and for a lot of people to this day still would be.
Jazz musicians?
It's been through a lot of different variations too. Like for me, that's on screen right there. That's kind of the quintessential for me, the L5. Like
that's
the L5,
what you think about the L5?
The L5 CES for me, because that's like the Wes Montgomery guitar. Yeah. That's like what was always been sort of the pinnacle of jazz guitars.
Excellence. That was as good as it got, really.
And that's really more in like the 1950s, but it was around since the 30s.
That's what I think. When I think about the Gibson L5, I actually think about the non-electric ones. The arch tops, big like old body,
non-cutaway too.
Non-cutaway, exactly.
They started off as 16-inch ones, and then they got
17-inch, bigger and bigger. Yeah. And but these were the top, so that means that was all solid, like most, right? That was the thing with it, right? All back and solid, back and
carved
wood.
Like a mandolin.
Oh my gosh, and they're gorgeous.
They're beautiful guitars.
And obviously those ones used by big bands back in the day.
Yep.
Incredible. You know, the funny thing is,
Like Freddie Green with the big band, just like chunking away chords.
and they don't make guitars like that anymore. Like when they say they don't make them like that anymore,
I think they do, but they're very, very expensive.
it's incredibly expensive.
Like, you're spending 20 grand, I think.
Yeah, but there's been different variations of the L5. There's been different looks of the L5.
Yep.
I'm going to say that should be on the list. Is there okay? What would be a pick of a guitar, a Gibson guitar that would come up to you in terms of all-time great Gibson guitars?
Ooh, there's so many to choose from.
Well, we're gonna figure it out.
Yeah, for sure. Should we like intersperse acoustics and electrics, or do you
Yeah,
want to
okay.
go like all of one?
Let's just go. Let's just go in. Let's just
Okay.
whatever.
Well, I mean, I think there's some very obvious ones, of course, but even before we get to those, I mean, I think the Gibson SG is one that's a classic. Yes. That's one of the most iconic electrics from Gibson for sure. I mean, certainly in terms of like rock and roll and metal, that, I mean, you see that guitar, you instantly think rock and roll. Obviously, like Angus Young had a lot to do with that, with AC/DC. It's hard not to think of AC/DC when you see that, but it's also, I mean, it reminds me a bit of like the Doors too. I feel like the guitar player was
Derek
using.
Trucks. Is
Derek Trucks is a modern guy, which also shows you that it's not just a rock guitar,
a relic of its time.
You know,
yeah.
like
unlike an L5, where an L5 kind of
L5 it's pretty purpose
jazz heads now.
Yeah.
Like no one's really rocking, because also L5s they just like vibrate and make a lot of noise, and they kind of
especially with a solid top.
So no
there
one's
and
rocking
top.
that electric.
No, you're
like,
gonna have a lot of
loud.
feedback. But I mean, Derek Trucks is using that for blues, predominantly slide playing.
A lot of slide players like it just because it's a long.
It must be
it goes
that neck.
outwards. It goes outwards
Yeah.
a lot, so you have a lot of freedom, and you can go really high. And you can. It's a fast playing neck, especially like those late '60s ones with the really narrow nut width and everything like that.
67, they were getting like really skinny.
They just fly. So
and it tends to be pretty light too, because it's a fairly like shallow guitar compared to like a Les Paul. It's a lighter one, so it's a lot easier on your back.
And now speaking of Les Paul, the SG is kind of like Les Paul Part 2, right? This was originally
it was originally Les Paul.
It was called the Les Paul 2. So now I think the first elimination we should do here is we have the SG, right?
Ooh, we're gonna do elimination
Yeah,
style?
we're gonna start breaking this down here. We got the
this
SG.
is fun. I like this. This is fun.
And then, which is like, rock and roll, slim, quick, fast, gorgeous, And then you got the Les Paul, which is Part 1. This is the Godfather 1 versus the Godfather 2. Les Paul, probably one of the iconic guitar body shapes everyone knows, associated with.
I mean, it's the most iconic Gibson guitar, for sure.
Can we just name quickly all the people that play a Les Paul? Like just
No.
right? It's like everybody. Just name
thousands of them.
anybody. Peter Frampton.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like Jimmy Page is
Jimmy
probably
Page.
one of the most famous players for that too. But I mean, for players that I listen to that play Les Pauls, like John Sykes was a fantastic Les Paul player in an era where everybody was doing shredder guitars, and more modern. Adam Jones from Tool has sort of brought a resurgence to Les Pauls as well.
But it's funny because they made the Les Paul for a brief period of time.
Yeah.
And then they just discontinued them all.
They got rid of it.
And then it was just so loved, because the SG was supposed to be the new Les Paul. Why would you want a Les Paul if you had an SG? And then obviously everyone just, the carved nature of it, right? It just kind of took over, and pretty much you had the Les Paul Deluxe, which came back, and then eventually the Les Paul just finds its way back. Where would you put now? Okay, if we're going to eliminate here, Les Paul, one of the most classic things, SG, one of the most classic. Who do you think would win in a battle, head to head?
It's hard not to pick a Les Paul.
Les Paul. I think it's obvious.
Come on.
It has to be Les Paul, because you have the iconic, the P90 Les Paul and the gold top Les Paul.
Well, that's the question too. I mean, are we just going with Les Paul umbrella in general?
I think we have to keep it broad.
Because otherwise,
we have to.
Because there's like Les Paul Customs, which I mean,
Fretless Wonders, great guitar. Les Paul Custom is just the deluxe version of
the Custom would probably get my vote for maybe the best looking Gibson guitar.
Yes,
I mean that is a classy guitar.
That was my dream there. The Black Beauty. Oh, that was the one that I would.
I have one of those.
You do?
I do.
I hate you. Really? That's fantastic. Great guitar. Okay, so
It's a lot of guitar. It feels a little bit like playing a piece of furniture.
so
hefty.
we got Les Paul.
But look, it's so classy.
And what's nice is like it has the sophistication of the carved top. It has the classiness, but it also is rock. It also is.
Well, yeah,
you know,
I mean, people use this in like rock bands and metal bands, but you could play that at a blues gig.
Okay.
You could play that in a big band too. Like it's very versatile. You could use that in just about any music style.
So,
I think.
L5 Les Paul. Okay, because my heart.
Well, an L5 is worth a lot more money.
Yes.
Well, actually, that depends. Depends, but
I think this one's simple to me. I think it has to be Les Paul, because I think the L5 still, I feel like it is kind of, it's of a different type, and it might come back, but like. It breaks my heart because I personally love the L5, but I think
what you need is the L5S.
Oh, classic! That you mean
L5S.
the Bill Lawrence one? Is that the one we're thinking of with the little rotary thing on it?
It's a solid body. They put it in the 70s.
That one. Yes. That
See, it's the culmination of the Les Paul and the L5.
I don't like it.
Ultimate guitar.
I don't like it.
This is the clear winner of the most definitive.
Is that a Norlin? Is that a Norlin guitar?
It is Norlin.
That's
era,
a beautiful
yeah.
Norlin. Oh, okay, I take it back. I love it. It's amazing.
There you go.
All
And
right.
actually, we did on episode, was it second episode of Big Shiny Tones? We got into
Norlin
guitars. Yeah.
If you want to watch that, go check out the big. I'll tell you, we have a podcast. It's really good. Check it out on the Tapestry Music site. But
we get in down and dirty
Norlin.
with the Norlin era
I like
guitars,
Norlin
which
guitars.
is fun.
I think they're great. But would you go Les Paul? Would you go L5? Quick, let's go.
Again, Les Paul. I mean,
Les
come
Paul.
on.
Okay, so now let's go into the other side of things. There's the avant-garde Gibson. So I'm thinking like Flying
the
V,
modern collection.
Explorer,
Yep.
Firebird,
Firebirds,
right?
That sort of stuff. They're cool. They're definitely cool.
I feel like these were their guitars kind of like going after Fender, what Fender was doing. I feel like that's what I feel like their response, because
Probably. I mean, it was around that time. I mean, these first came out in the late 50s, which is kind of hard to believe, actually, when you look at them. But that was, surf rock was taking off, and Fender was doing Jaguars and Jazzmasters and things. So
look at a Firebird, right? Like the curves,
the
offset
trim,
curves. And I think it must have broken Gibson's heart, because they're a company that's based on these gorgeous carved tops and this old world manufacturing. And all of a sudden, it's just these flat top,
pieces of wood.
like
yeah.
Explorer, Flying V, like they're like just planks of wood. It's really, I feel like it was just trying to go at it. The Flying V obviously having that V shape. Mm-hmm. The Explorer,
Hence the name.
Yeah, the Explorer is just. That's a cool guitar, man.
It's cool. I mean, when I see an Explorer, obviously I think of James Hetfield.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
But I don't know. Has anybody else really used them? Well, there's the
Edge,
there's
right?
the Edge right there
yeah.
too. I guess the Edge is used. Actually, he's used V's too. I think he's kind of embraced those big Gibson guitars.
It blows my mind how ahead of its time the Flying V and the Explorer were, because these are what 50s, right?
Yeah, late 50s.
That's incredible.
They're like spaceships. But that was kind of. I feel like. I wasn't around then, but in the particularly early 60s, there was a lot of this futuristic, space, future modern kind of stuff. And that's sort of where a lot of these designs were coming from, I think.
If you ask almost anyone, you go Explorer, they'll think it's probably from the 80s.
Yeah. Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure.
I
think they kind of went away for a while, and
and then you have
it was really metal that brought them back.
Yeah,
it seems like when I see these guitars, the first thing I think of is metal these days.
Definitely not practical guitars.
No, you try
gigging with one of those?
sitting with a Flying V, it's like a weird thing.
Traveling with them is just a pain in the butt.
Oh, trying to get cases for them, it's impossible.
And then there's the Firebird. You got the Firebird, Mitch. That one is very I think when I think of Firebird, that's
cool.
that's like a Jaguar. It's they had the smaller pickups, a lot brighter. It's super
a lot of neck
offset.
on those too, kind of like an SG. There's a lot of neck the way they build that one, and you can really feel. I think they are neck through too. I think the neck goes straight through.
You could.
So you can really feel the vibrations. That guitar kind of hums.
It was really fun. It was crazy because it's this beautiful resonant guitar, but the pickups are very thin and non-sustainy. It's weird.
And then the headstock, they got the banjo tuners on there too, which is a weird thing.
That's another great guitar case guitar.
early version of the Robo tuners there, I think. But they're big honking things on the back. They're weird.
So of those three, Explorer,
Those three.
right, Flying V, and Firebird, which one would you think is the winner?
That's a real tough call. Ah, man. I don't know what our criteria is, so I'm going to go with what I think is coolest.
Yeah.
So I'm going to pick Firebird.
You're gonna Firebird? I was gonna go Flying V.
Oh.
I think the Flying V is like, see, it's a cool. Firebird's a great guitar, but when I think of like legendary players, I could think. I see.
I can't think of anybody for Firebird, actually.
Who's like a Firebird as their main
Johnny
guitar?
Winter, maybe? I think
Oh yeah,
was a
that's right.
Firebird
Yeah.
guy.
He had a little if you're a big fan of Frankenstein, Firebird might be the way
There
to
you
go.
go.
But I think Explorer's tough. Flying V. I think Flying V. When I think of Albert King,
Yep.
and
Totally.
I think it just also like the amount of companies that have copied the Flying V design and the boldness of it.
Yeah, like Dean and Jackson and most of the metal companies.
Now-
or metal guitar companies.
Does any of those three guitars challenge the Les Paul in any way?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
How can they?
It's they're iconic in their own way, but I think if you showed, I think maybe if you showed a flying, the public will recognize a Flying V by its name.
Of
that's
course,
a Flying
because
V.
it's V-shaped.
Yeah, they can't. I don't think they can go. Oh, that's an Explorer, or that's a Firebird.
Yeah. But the other thing, too, I think at the end of the day, and I'll probably get crucified in the comments for this, but to me, both Flying Vs and Explorers sound more or less like a Les Paul.
Yes, and like kind of and without the that are just harder to play and harder to put in the case.
Yeah. It's a less convenient Les Paul.
Less convenient Les Paul. They're cool, but I think Les Paul is still the winner. Now I'm going to divert here. Okay, acoustic guitars.
I was going to say we need to talk about acoustics a
Acoustic
bit
guitars.
because not only do they produce a lot of great electric guitars over the years, iconic ones, they've also produced some of the most iconic acoustic guitars of all time. And that's something that, like we're talking about Fender can't claim that because while Fender has had lots of acoustic guitars, they've always just had them made in some factory in Korea or Japan or wherever, and it's just been like a convenience for them. They've never had an identity with acoustic guitars, whereas Gibson and Martin were like the two American acoustic guitar companies that really came out with original designs, and the designs are copied to this day. So there's a lot of great acoustics that they've got in their lineup.
It's incredible, and like there's people that like just love Gibson acoustics but don't like the electrics. It's like there are people that just
Really?
oh yeah, it's like there's a huge like Gibson acoustics are just it's almost like it's treated like its own little wonderful thing. When I
for
think
sure.
of Gibson acoustics, I think obviously J45. Right?
That's the quintessential Gibson to
Hummingbird.
me, I think.
There's Hummingbird.
Yeah.
People
I mean,
talk
the
about.
Hummingbbird's cool. To me, aside from looks, it's not really that different though, because it's still like
has a hummingbird on it.
put a bird on it. But because it's a solid spruce top, it's a solid mahogany back and sides, but it's a square shoulder, so
Yeah.
more like a Martin shape. But then it's got that big pickguard on there. But
Aren't they longer scale too? They're like Martin scale. I feel like some of
maybe.
them. Maybe there was they sometimes are.
yeah, I don't know.
I would if I would have
Definitely Gibson wins in the looks department over Martin. Martin guitars are very, plain looking. Whereas the Gibson ones are a lot more ostentatious. I mean, you get sunbursts on most of them. The pickguards, like for the Hummingbird or the Dove or the J200, they got all these
Gorgeous.
beautiful things on there. And then it also makes me think of like, Nashville and stuff from back in like the 60s where everybody would have their name inlaid on
Yes,
their guitars
yes,
too, like
But look at that! Look at that
JayLeonardJ across your
Just right
J200 there.
And,
You want it.
oh,
Come
who
on.
does? Now, if I had to
Matching
pick,
belt buckle.
if I had to pick between the Hummingbird and the J45, I think my heart, obviously, the J45 for the uninitiated, that is probably that one over there. Slope shoulders.
Yeah, slope shoulder.
Short scale.
Yep.
Right. Even shorter than the short scale Martins, right? Like a short scale Martin's
24.9.
24.9.
I think, yeah.
And then that's 24.75, right? So it's
beautiful.
Completely different bracing pattern. That J45, it was kind of considered the working man's guitar. It was kind of like, there was the Southern, what was it called?
Southern
the Southern Jumbo,
Jumbo,
which is
yeah.
the fancier version of it. And then obviously we get into the more ostentatious, but I think this is like the quintessential songwriter guitar.
Singer-songwriter guitar. To me, it's that sunburst too. It's like, it's if I'm gonna have a Gibson acoustic, I want it to be sunburst.
Yes, I think so.
It
That's
just-
what defines it.
It looks so good.
That's what defines it. And if I had to pick between Hummingbird and J45, I think it's J45 in my opinion. Hummingbird, it kind of looks just like a D18 in a way,
With a fancy
D18. Whereas like that is so the shape
Yeah.
of it. And I think most acoustic players that are trying to get their first big guitars always, do I get a D18? Do I get a J45? You know, D18, good bluegrass, really strong low end response,
Yeah.
really fast playability because of that tension.
Yeah.
This is that nice smooth mid range, that kind of
Yeah.
thump, less low end, but nice warm mid, soft top. It's
Pairs with the voice really well too. You know.
the absolute. So me getting a J40, there's bias too because
I know you've been wanting one for a long time.
I got one. I was gonna wait till
I got one
turned-
up on the wall.
Oh,
You
really?
should try it out. It's a
Oh.
12 fretter actually.
Oh, really?
12 fretter, yeah.
I was gonna wait till I was 45 before I got a J45, but I just shot. I couldn't do it. I was doing a play and it was period correct. So I'm like, screw it, I'm gonna get a J45. J45. Now, is there any other acoustic you think can compete with the J40? Is that with the L00, the LG2?
Yeah, I was gonna say going either direction for this one.
200?
Yeah, you got like I think the L00 on the smaller side is
Like-
such an iconic guitar because that's the fingerstyle blues guitar,
Well,
and then the J200 going the other way, the big, huge, ostentatious.
So yeah,
jumbo.
there's the J200. It's almost like a double O in a way.
So
But
this
look
is
at
the,
that,
this, that's
so
the
narrow.
L00. I mean, little L00. That's the sound of like, you know,
Robert Johnson,
Delta blues. They're really dry sounding. A lot of them were ladder braced.
Yeah.
So there's not much bottom end at all. So if you're strumming chords like you would on a J45, it's not going to cut it.
No.
But if you're playing fingerstyle blues, it's got that bark. And it's such a comfortable little size to sit down and play.
Great solo instrument too. The like playing guitar solos on that.
Yeah.
It really has a mid range that really comes out. And
Yeah,
then there's
totally.
the J200.
So the J200 is the other end of the spectrum.
Just big old tubby monster behemoth.
I mean, yeah, the J200. I don't know, man. That's a huge guitar. It's iconic just because, again, the look of it, because they always made them so fancy. It's got the big fancy pickguard with all the flowers
that's so
on
cool,
there.
man.
It's got-
Mustache bridge. Oh,
yeah, the mustache bridge.
oh man.
It's wild. I mean, I don't know why they decided to do that.
That is just pure class. So, which is the one
Out of those three,
out of those three? Is the J45 still good?
I'd have to go J45. I mean,
think, yeah.
really, the J200 looks cool, but I really wouldn't want to be playing one. It's just too big of a guitar.
It's not very versatile.
And-
It's hard to play lead lines with it. I find it's too tubby. for
Yeah,
the
it's
lead
just
line.
it's just too big. I mean, it looks cool on stage, but other than that, I mean,
Yeah.
the L00 is cool, but it's so specific. Like you would basically already own a J45.
Yes,
if you own an L00.
it's almost like if you're starting a Gibson guitar collection,
Yeah.
you start with the J45.
Yeah.
Now, I personally like the Southern Jumbo, like if I had to like visually, but J45 too iconic. Now,
Yeah.
let's leave the acoustics alone here, okay?
I think that's a good
Okay.
representation.
I think
of acoustics.
J45 is a good
Yeah.
representation. We're going back to guitars. Now I'm thinking here. There is one. We were talking about the the L5, big hollow body. We're
Yep.
talking about the Les Paul solid body. There's a middle
If
ground.
only they could find somewhere a perfect middle ground between those two.
If there is a part right in the middle that
Wouldn't that
split
be
the
something?
difference, that maybe could help Marty McFly's parents find love. What guitar could that possibly be?
So we got the whole family of the ES 335s and such. So 335s, 345s,
Yep.
355s. I mean, I think we need to kind of lump
Yeah,
them
yeah.
into a category. But to me, the 335
The
is
3
kinda-
series, is that what we would call it?
The 3 series?
Because there's like the E, that is it right there. The
Yeah,
ES.
I mean, the 335 is certainly the most famous out of all of those. The 45 and the 55 are the more decorated versions of that. I mean, I've always had a soft spot for a 335. It's also a guitar that I own and have played a lot over the years. It's so incredibly versatile.
Yes.
Because this is a guitar that really transcends genres. You can play so many different styles of music with this guitar. You can play blues with it. You can play country with it. You can play pop. You can play rock. You can play progressive rock with it. I don't know if anyone's playing metal with it, but it's such a versatile instrument. It's fantastic as a jazz guitar. I mean, I've owned, speaking of another great archtop, I've had a ES 175.
Oh yeah, that is
that's
another guitar.
very-
I was thinking 175, but I was thinking L5 might trump 175.
It's the L5 is kind of the king of the
king.
archtops. I would
175
say,
doesn't feedback as much, right? Because it's
laminate.
It's laminate.
Yeah, for sure. And it's a cool guitar. And I've had one. I listen to a lot of jazz players that have played those in the past, like Jim Hall and Pat Metheny and guys like that. But then it was actually I had one for quite a while, but I always preferred playing my 335, even for straight ahead jazz. It was just like the access up the neck was better. With the 175, that cutaway, it's a little limiting. There's not that many frets either. Yeah. It's only like a 19 fret, I think, or something like that. Yeah. And so it's a little more limiting. It's a bigger guitar. 335 is just always so much easier to play. It's more versatile. It sits on the
lap. We were saying earlier, like you could play jazz with a Les Paul, but if you were like playing a straight up jazz gig and you're rocking a Les Paul, just from a visual standpoint, it doesn't quite
look
hit,
right.
But you could have a 335 and you could play a jazz gig. No one would even bat an eye. Right?
Oh, for sure.
Because it has the aesthetic to hold up the jazz gig, but also it has the aesthetic to do a blues gig.
Yep.
And if you want to do Larry Carl, you want to do a fusion gig, or you want to do
that's like one guitar you can have that'll really give you a lot of mileage.
An absolutely beautiful. When you think of the 335, what color comes to mind? The sunburst or the cherry?
I'm more of a sunburst guy with them.
Oh,
I mean, the cherry is definitely a famous one, and the natural too.
My heart, cherry.
You're more of a cherry guy?
I wanted that. The funny thing is, I wanted to get my first 335. By first, I mean my only 335. I really wanted a cherry, but there was a sunburst that just sounded better, and I just had to do it. So
there you go. Good choice.
Now, okay, so this is actually the first hard one for me. Les Paul.
Oh no.
Les Paul 335. Now,
if I could only have one, I would go 335.
Okay, so I hate this because it's the Les Paul is such an iconic shape. It looks like rock and roll. It looks like guitar.
Yep.
But gosh, there's something about the 335. There's also mystique between the 335. Like everyone in guitar shops, we always talk about finding the right 345. The same way people talk about finding the right J45. That's almost like a holy mission. Whereas like getting a Les Paul, it's like most people that want to get a Les Paul, they'll like just find the one with the best burst.
I know people get hung up on the looks of the Les Pauls a lot more than the actual sound and the playability. I think
the 335, it's like a pilgrimage to find the perfect 335, to find the perfect J45.
It's tough, but
Mitch, what are you gonna say?
Oh my God, I tend to lean towards the hollow bodies.
Oh wow, I'm surprised. Yes, Back to the Future. BB King. Larry Carl, come on! I think
how can you choose?
It's
though?
tough because there's been more
music.
hit records, and I think all through the 70s, 80s, Les Paul has been the face of electric guitar. Even like in the 70s,
Les Paul and Marshall.
Strat, I would say.
Oh yeah.
In the 70s. So
because it was not only like classic rock, because like once those big Marshalls came out, and Eric Clapton used a Les Paul through a Marshall, and everyone went, whoa. So you get late 60s classic rock into like 70s classic rock, but then it also kept going with like what became like 80s rock too, like bands like Kiss and all that sort of stuff is like it's still a Les Paul and a Marshall. I was like, that's the sound of rock and roll. It's the look of rock and roll.
But they never discontinued the 335.
That's true.
Yes, 335. Now, before we do my last little idea here, is there any other Gibson guitars that we're missing here? Like in terms of like, there's obviously they have so many. One of my personal favorites, the Nighthawk. I'm not putting that on the list, buddy. I'm not gonna put the Nighthawk or the blues on the list.
We were chatting about that one in episode 1 of Big Shiny Tones.
Yeah, go and check that out.
The Nighthawk.
My love relationship with the Nighthawk. I think that was that episode 2. And we got to check that. I'm going to put links.
It might have been the first one. I think it was the first one.
Was that the first one?
Yeah.
I like that.
The Nighthawk. Yeah, the Victory.
That's another one. The L6S. Do you remember the L6S? That's a weird one. And that one had a rotary knob, kind of like the ES. Was it the 355 that had the rotary knob?
Yeah.
Look at that. Oh.
That's a nasty one.
Oh.
Oh, geez. The Marauder.
The Marauder.
Do you remember the Marauder?
And obviously, there's the Gibson basses.
Oh yeah. I mean, they did like the EBO and the grabber
Exactly.
and the.
Now, I don't.
like
I'm not going too much into the bases because I don't know about
that's
the
a whole
bass
nother
history.
conversation.
And I think there's like I think when you go to
Ooh, there's the Marauders. Those are.
that's a crazy guitar. But I think all of these are kind of just like they're cool, but the
Sort of
in terms
experiments
of the
that they did.
ubiquitous kind of vibe here.
Yeah, there's the Corvus. Do you remember the Corvus?
I don't even know what a Corvus.
Can you pull up a Corvus?
Corvus.
Corvus, I think. This was another oddball
Gibson
one.
Corvus. The
Yeah.
coronavirus. Oh wait, here it is. Whoa! What a crazy guitar.
This is like Gibson tries to
go
to the 80s future.
Or was it Steinberger?
Steinberger, yeah.
Steinberger.
Funny enough, Gibson ended up buying Steinberger.
Oh really? No, are we going to include guitar companies that Gibson owns?
No.
Like the Valley Arts.
Definitely not.
All right, so there. I don't think. I think if we look around, I think that's so. It's going to come down to this here. This is the final round, final boss.
Okay.
We have the ES. I'm writing this down. I don't know why, but the ES 335.
Because then it's official.
I'm making it official. ES 335 or 3 variant, 345, 355. The numbers when you have like the 55, 45, it's just more how much candy is on the guitar.
Well, that's actually the price of the guitars when they first came out. That was the price of them.
Way to book yourself into a corner there, eh?
Yeah, somehow they've managed to raise the price on them. But when those came out, ES 335 was $335. And the 345, which is a little fancier, was $345. And the 355 was $355.
Oh, wow. See, I have so much to learn.
Learn something every day.
One thing I think we didn't mention about 335, what makes it unique is the fact that it looks like a hollow body guitar, but there is a solid piece of wood down the middle, and that's why it doesn't feed back, and that's why it works with rocker players. I just didn't mention that. So we have the ES 335, or just the 3 whatever.
And they did a 330, which was the fully hollow version of it too. A little lesser known, but it's out there.
339, which is the baby
The little
version.
guy, yeah. Oh,
the little
they keep
puppy
going
version.
all kinds of variations.
And the J45. Now,
that's our
those.
finalists?
I think it really comes down to those two guitars. Each one so incredibly. So what you're going to do is we're going to say it at the exact same time. Water vote's going to be. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3. Say it. Ready?
It's easy one for me.
1, 2, 3. J45.
ES35.
Oh, come on. Are you serious? ES335 is your choice.
Hands down.
Oh,
hands
okay.
down.
Okay. So I need you to because we have to come up with a definitive greatest guitar.
Oh.
Okay. So
how's that going to work if
you
we
have to
don't
sell
agree?
me? You have to sell me on the 335, and I'll sell you on the J45.
Oh boy. Wasn't ready for a sales pitch.
This is a guitar store.
Well, to start with, it's an electric guitar.
Electric, yes.
Which is invariably cooler than any acoustic guitar out there. I mean, it's already got a head start because it's an electric guitar.
Okay. All right. Electric.
I mean, you could probably just leave it at that. And
The fact that it's an electric guitar
that's
makes
enough.
it. Okay, wait. I'm going to break this down. How many? Okay, my counter argument. I feel like I'm going to be a lawyer. There are more acoustic players out there than electric players. I'm going to say there are way more people playing acoustics because everyone, everyone has like an acoustic guitar sitting around somewhere. They don't have an uncle that has an acoustic guitar that has your brothers. Or you're going on. You can grab a J45 going on a camping trip. Get your guitar, start playing with your friends, getting some beautiful things. You could write songs. How many hit songs were written on a guy that probably owns a 335? But how many of those hit songs were actually written on the couch with the J45?
That's a good point.
I feel
that is
like
the songwriter's guitar.
It is the songwriter's guitar. It is, I think, when I think of the history of I guess this is my argument here. When I think of the history of electrics and acoustics, right? When you think, what's the greatest electric of all time, right? People are going to go Strat, Tele, Les Paul, 335. That's kind of like around, that's like the big four in a way, right? If you think about it, right? When you think, what's the greatest acoustic of all time? I think the argument usually comes down to D18 or /D28, J45. And I think, and it's almost like no competition. I think the ES35 already already has enough competition with the Les Paul to like, what's a better guitar? It's already battling out. And then you have to deal with Strat and you have to deal with Tele. That's a crowded room. To be so boss level that you can go, what's the greatest acoustic? Oh, I'm a D18 guy. No, I'm a J45 guy. Like, to have it at that point has to be J45. Has to be. That's my pitch here. I know I'm an electric player, but put it this way, I'm not a Gibson guy. I don't actually own any Gibson electrics, but you know what I own?
You don't?
Yeah, I don't. My 335 I sold. You know, I've had Les Paul. I sold my Les Paul. You know, Nighthawk. Unfortunately, sold my Nighthawk. But
you need to get a Nighthawk again.
I need to get a Nighthawk. But do you know what I have? J45. J40. You don't have a J45.
I don't have a J45. In fact, I don't have an acoustic guitar.
Wow.
Believe it or not.
I think your feet are firmly planted in
I don't know. I mean, so many great songs have been written with J45s, but so many great guitar solos have been played on a 335.
Was the Peg solo on a 335?
I think a lot of the solos from Steely Dan were on 335s, regardless of who was playing them, because they hired like 10 guitar players
and then just
to do the solos.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I mean, all those Larry Carlton solos.
That's not Larry Carlton that plays the Peg solo, is it?
I don't know. He did like the Kid Charlemagne one.
If it is a 335 on Peg, that's like, okay, then maybe that's the answer. But
I'd have to listen back to Peg. But I mean, there's so much influence that both those guitars have had.
So we are not going to change our opinion. I think we have to have a definitive opinion. So we're going to rely on our man behind the camera. Mitch, you are the tiebreaker.
The tiebreaker.
What is it? Is it the 335 or is it the J45?
Oh my God.
Gosh, here it comes.
I gotta go with the 335.
Yes.
I'm sorry. 335, 335, 335.
There we go.
All right. There we go. Well, now we have it officially. The greatest guitar for Gibson is
The ES 335.
and that brings us
Thank
to
you,
the end.
folks.
That brings us to the end of Shop Talk. Now, if you like this kind of stuff, you like this kind of vibe, I like this. I love doing this.
This is great. It's a good hang.
Check out Big Shiny Tones. It's on the Tapestry site. I'm going to put a link here, and there'll be a playlist on here. Go check it out. We do the show every week on on Thursday.
Thursday
drop. So check us out. We go through the news. We talk about different rigs and give our unpopular opinions. And also keep your eyes open on this page. The first Wednesday of every month is going to be this Shop Talk.
Yeah, Shop Talk.
We'll see how long this goes. I'm having too much fun. Let's film 3 more episodes right now.
All right, let's go. Let's do it.
That being said, Tapestry Music. Jonathan Lindsay.
Yeah, my name's Jonathan Lindsay.
JayLeonardJ.
As you know, of course, and Big Shiny Tones podcast. Tune in.
That being said, we'll see you soon. Take care and goodbye.
All right, see you guys.